Welcome back everyone for the next part of Chrono Ark. In the last part, we kind of sadly failed around in the Crimson Wilderness because I ran into a bard. Haven't encountered that type of monster before, but once I saw that instrument, I kind of already knew that we were screwed. Bards are tricky. You would assume that they aren't really that strong because they literally only have perchance a violin or a trumpet or anything like that. But sound-based attacks are usually not really blockable, and the nerd for damage really rips parties to shreds. Some wouldn't believe it, but it's actually really effective. And yeah, I kind of assumed it the second I saw it, and it actually came true, so it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all. But hey, now we know it, right? Now we know it. At the very least, that bard lady was so kind to us to show us that we actually have a couple of reports waiting for us, like the Girl of White, security... Who the heck is that? A security team work report, Clynes Memoirs, and Phoenix Rebirth. So, I guess, even though it was kind of bad, there's some good behind of this. Also, this gives me another chance to type in a couple of extra passwords that I have written down. Now, I know I still am stuck with the other code that I haven't really figured out yet, but in the last couple of cutscenes, there were a couple of yellow words that I wrote out that might be another password, right? But of course we're going to save that for the end of the part. After all, I kind of want to see what this is all about. A girl of pure white. That's the girl that we saw before in the conference room when they were talking about the mine, right? Yeah, right here. Haven't really seen her afterwards. And this guy is completely new. I don't think we've seen him anywhere before. But nevertheless, let us start with the reports. Now then, the Girl of Pure White. The Ark project processes smoothly. Clyne and his assistant Chiyo managed the project while making small talk. So, she is his personal assistant? I kind of thought it would be sis, but I guess it can have multiple, right? Certainly. Now, what a disaster. To think that was the Earth that we used to live in. Thank goodness we finished the preparations in time. This is all thanks to the effort of talented people like us. Wait! Why is it yellow? Where's my pen? I just talked about it! Wait. Chiyo. Oh god, I'm gonna keep this paper right here. And my pen. I might have to go through the reports again. I don't remember if they also had yellow names. Oh my god. Yep, I finished the reports and uploaded it to the drive. Oh, thanks, Chiyo. How's the situation in the town square? The overall vibe seemed fine. It looks like everyone has adjusted well. The interesting part is the oligarchs from the Patreon groups are actively stepping in to lead the people. Even though everyone should be equal here, regardless of financial powers. Of course, there's a reason why they are oligarchs, whatever that word is, in the first place. Billionaires, okay. Didn't just become billionaires out of nowhere. Anyways, nice work out there, Chiyo. How's your condition lately? Are you feeling well? Yep, the avatar system was created by the almighty me, so there's no way I would feel sick. Are you still worried about me? I told you there's no need to. Well, I'm just making sure. Hey, I'm not a child, you know? I can get by just fine. If you have time to worry about me, worry about that daughter Lucy instead. I don't think Lucy likes me. Huh? Oh, look at this guy. How could a father say something like that? Lucy probably wants nothing more than to spend time with her father. I'm not good at parenting. I don't even know how to approach her. Oh, poor Lucy. She's been waiting so long for Daddy to return. I thought she would feel left out, so I told Annie about it. It seems like Annie is taking good care of her. She will probably be fine for a while. What? Is Annie supposed to be Lucy's mom or something? You're the one who should take care of her. Yeah! I know that you're busy, but how could you neglect her for so long? Alright. I will adjust my schedule to meet her. What? How could you say it like that? I think I heard the exact same line like a week ago. Be nice to Lucy. She can act a little cold on the outside, but she really likes you. And Lucy has no one to rely on except of you. Show her plenty of love before the relationship becomes irreversible and she might start up killing you. What do you mean with irreversible? Oh, you know, she's just a child now. But what do you think will happen if she becomes independable? At that point, you two could really become strangers. Do you plan to stay away from her for the rest of your life? I give it up. I don't feel like prying into someone else's family problems. Anyways, I finished my work for the day, so I'll be heading out. Let's see, running a few laps around the town as usual. Yep, now that I'm able to run around freely with this body, I gotta use it as much as I can. Also, I get claustrophobic from being inside of the control center all day. Keep up the good work, Clyne! She wasn't able to move her body before? And now she loves to run around whenever she can? Claustrophobic? Okay, that's very interesting, Chiyo. And then of course we have the security team work report. The security team follow-up report on the incident at the mine. The writer of this report is BB. Okay. Captain of Team Ironheart. Team Ironheart? Head of the Ark Prod. Is that his face? Could it be? We have never seen his face before. Because of his iron armor. Right? Oh god. Year 1, November 9. Security Team Work Report. Filed by Security Team Leader BB. Title: Regarding the aftermath of the mine burial incident. Synopsis: the incident occurred about 3 weeks ago at the mine, located 7 kilometers from the village. According to scan results, it was confirmed that 7 civilians were buried in a tunnel 200 meters underground, and the 2nd platoon of the security team was dispatched to the scene. In addition, the rescue mission served as a particular test for the artifact, as we have obtained permission from command to use artifacts number 1 and number 2. Footnote 1. The mission execution details are as follow. First of all, number 2 was used to solidify all terrain in danger of collapsing to create a safe route to the site of the accident. Upon arrival at the site of the incident, we visually confirmed the location of the buried civilians, and number 1 was used to successfully teleport the rescued squadron and all 7 civilians back to the surface. Except for a few people who expressed post-traumatic stress disorder, all civilians have safely returned to their daily lives, and no abnormalities have been confirmed so far, which is actually understandable because being buried alive is quite a distressful ordeal. Footnote 1. Attached below is the instruction manual text for artifact number 1 and number 2. This is Leon, head of the development team. I would first like to thank all the security team members for working hard, day and night, on busy duty. The artifacts we've created are still prototypes, and because we are rushing their production, they might have unexpected consequences or create dangerous scenarios. Please follow the usage guideline below, and please return the artifacts to the development team as soon as you are done using them. Number 1 is a portable teleportation device. It looks like an ordinary calculator, and it also functions similar to a calculator. Enter the number to be used as the X, Y, and Z coordinates, and press the equal button to teleport the user to those specific coordinations. It will teleport all objects in contact with the user, so make sure to avoid unnecessary contact. You can also return to the original coordinations using the clear button. Please double check for any incorrect decimal places or wrong coordinations, and use accurate coordinations only. Number 2 is a material solidifier. The area touched by the end of the stick can be hardened and fixed in place for a certain period of time. Hardened objects ignore the effect of gravity. You can even adjust the strength to a negative number to soften objects, so try utilizing this to clear the path. However, be sure not to set the strength too high, or else this could cause the air layer around the stick to harden. Also, the duration is not very long, so you must hurry. A stick that can harden even air? And a calculating teleporter? Okay. Follow-up. Although the first practical deployment of the artifact was a success, there was still a number of areas to be improved, such as the instability issue of number 2 and the safety issue of number 1. Right, if you just teleport randomly or make an error, you could land into a different pile of earth, or even worse, in the middle of a wall from a building, right? In particular, number 1 had an issue where a pickaxe that was placed at the teleporter coordination overlapped with the foot of a security member. I knew it! Which caused the pickaxe to particularly disappear around the foot. Thus, we do not recommend using the artifact until we can confirm if this can happen to a living being as well, and until we set rules for what happens to the disappeared parts. In addition, I would like to address the growing popularity of the anti-research force that have recently begun to emerge on the civilian side. While it was a necessary choice for the rescue operation, we are concerned about the public opinion of displaying artifacts in front of the civilians. What's troubling is that the security team, who has the most contact with the civilians in their duty, is increasingly becoming the target of resentment. Why? We have no problems with playing the villain, but as the situation becomes more extreme, that much more pressure is placed on the security team. We would like to request for improvement in working conditions or additional supervision of civilians. They are really going after the security team, even though they are just doing their job? Sure, they want probably an easier life around here, but come on. Baby. No, forget it. Those bastards wouldn't even listen even if I wrote this. The best we would get is more criticism. You talking to the researchers now? I stopped tapping on the keyboard, and after a moment of contemplation, I pressed the backspace key and erased the content of my protest. We in the security teams are researchers, but we are also not researchers. The team Ironheart that I lead was hired by the Ark project under the same name as the security team. They clearly segmented us from the original project personnel and do not try to consider us as one family. Despite that, whenever they're in hot water, we quickly become agents of the researchers and are used as scapegoats. We're the one bearing the brunt of all the insults from the civilians, and our crew faces a lot of emotional struggle because of that. The researchers treat us as civilians, and the civilians treat us as researchers. It's a vague position where we don't fit into any group. It's no wonder that they are all stressed out. But there's nothing that we can do. In order to protect my colleagues from the freezing world, I had no choice but to borrow someone else's power. For us folk who only know how to fight, we had no choice but to entrust ourselves to others who had the power to survive the great catastrophe. This report. I better rewrite it from scratch. Maybe I can at least negotiate for a raise. for all that trouble. So Ironheart belonged to the researchers at some point, because they were probably the security team. But they aren't really that developed with the Ark project themselves, so they are pushed to the sideline in order to probably protect the boundary between civilians and the researchers. And now the civilians are angry at the researchers, which means the anger is going to be redirected to the Ironhearts. This is actually a really bad situation in general. Especially since they can't really openly report about this either. I'm pretty sure Leon would hear them out, but the others... I mean, they can't really ignore them. They're on the same side. They both care about this project. I'm pretty sure Sis wouldn't ignore them either. Difficult. Quite difficult. Now we have Clynes Memoirs. After triggering the loop, Clyne faced the day of the second opening ceremony. Clyne reflects on the event of the first loop and mulled over the betrayer. After the loop, but before the regression. So they already looped the world once and redid the whole opening ceremony. Interesting. Let's see what's going on. It's the opening ceremony soon. The first day of Virtual World and the start of the Ark project. For myself and Phoenix. Oh, wait. Second. I am so sorry. I have to do this. This is important. Anything yellow might be a clue. Okay, what was I? Alright, for myself and Phoenix, who set our memories to not be resetted even after the loop, this will be the second opening ceremony. I had prepared for this scenario, but I really did not expect it to use the loop so quickly. We solved the issue for now, but my mind was distraught because nothing was going according to plan. First, let's organize my thoughts. There's still some time left until the opening ceremony. I decided to download the data recorded in the archive during the last loop and summarize only the major events. There must be something that we are missing. Okay. Year 1. May 6th, the Ark project was launched in earnest. Life in the virtual world began and the opening ceremony ended successfully. Year 1, October 18. A mine collapse resulted in an accident in which civilians were buried. In the end, we were able to get everyone out without any serious damage, but it did alert the civilians of the existence of artifacts. Well, that's kind of forgiving, because they needed that power in order to bring them back. Year 1, October 28. As a follow-up measure to the mine burial incident, we decided to distribute artifact number 4, known as the return stone, to each civilian. So if they ever get buried again, they have a quick way back home. That is clever. Should have probably done that from the start, but maybe they thought it wasn't needed. Commonly seen in video games, it's an artifact that allows you to easily teleport to the town square from anywhere at any time. With this, you don't really need to suffer the pain of being trapped somewhere like the mines again. Year 1, November 2nd, during the Return Stone distribution event, a civilian sneaked into the control center and stole an artifact. The lone perpetrator was a civilian named Beatrix, and it seems she had taken advantage of the lax security during the event. The stolen artifact was a restaurant tray that spawns food, and it is one of the important artifacts responsible for the researcher's meal. The tray was safely retrieved by the security team, but a dispute arose between the civilians and the researchers in the process. There were clashes between the security team distributing the return stones and the civilian claiming that there was inequality in life standards. When resolving the situation, the security team fired live ammunition at the civilians. While there was no casualties due to the protector, the public opinions among the civilians worsened significantly. Well, to be fair, if they get free food because of a restaurant tray, and all the others have to work for it, that is a little bit Unfair? But alright. To be honest, I knew from the very beginning that the public opinion among civilians wouldn't be positive. I did not expect the civilians to act according to our intention in the first place, and I thought anything was possible from minor confrontation to major clashes. Of course, in their point of view, it could seem unfair that we lived comfortable with the artifacts while they had to do everything themselves. Originally, I was planning to let the civilians slowly adapt to the life of the Ark and gradually raise their living standards under the premise of mutual respect. But the problem was that it was far too fast. It didn't even take half a year, let alone a single year, for the public opinion to hit rock bottom, and this created an atmosphere in which both parties could not trust each other. While the return stone was a follow-up measure, it was also an attempt at reversing the public opinion to some extent, though it had failed spectacularly. No, maybe the outcome would have been the same, even if there was no theft. Because the pace at which the public opinion fell was already well beyond normal. It's as if someone was constantly planting a bad impression of the researchers. Betrayer, huh? Year 2, May 6th, we celebrated the first anniversary of the Ark project. Civilians' participation was exceedingly low, but a few people and the researchers managed to complete the event without much trouble. Shortly after the event, I consulted with Chiyo about her wanting to change her avatar. Wait, she wanted to change her avatar? Apparently, after tolerating for a year, her phantom pain had become unbearable. I've never heard of anyone getting phantom pain from a virtual world's avatar, but perhaps it was caused by some kind of calculational error? I was concerned about the distribution it could cause to the project, but I gave Chiyo permission to use the avatar's converter just once. To get rid of the phantom pain, Chiyo abandoned a human avatar and instead took the form of a bird, called herself Phoenix. Phoenix is a girl the entire time? Oh, and that is a hacker name? Chiyo is a hacker? Year 2, June 6th. Several rules were established to address the excessive violence and disorder caused by the civilians, and a security team was deployed in shifts to maintain orders. The backlash from the civilians was overwhelming, but they could no longer be left to their own devices. Year 2, September 23rd. The civilian marched to the front of the research area and started a violent protest. While confronting the security team, they started throwing homemade bombs they had made from scrap metal. Are you turning into the Ashen Order now? That's crazy! With all the smoke and explosion and gunfire from the security team responding to the protest, the research area quickly descended into chaos. While the two forces were fighting frantically, they suddenly noticed painful screams and red blood coming from everywhere, and they stopped moving. The protector that was guarding everyone's life was no longer functioning. Both civilians and researchers were panicking by the unexpected casualties, and although the protector was latently reactivated, we were unable to revive those who had already died. The situation is then diffused as the frightened civilians retreated. It's here. The turning point in which life on the Ark, shaky as it was, began to decisively collapse. And this was also the moment I was convinced there was a betrayal. I don't say. Wait a second. I really need to go through all the reports again. I'm pretty sure there weren't any yellow words in there before, but now I'm not so sure about it. Okay, the betrayer, wrote it down. The protector assisted and kept the avatar in the virtual world safe from physical danger, such as death and pain. Thanks to the protector, the avatar in the virtual world cannot die, grow old, or fall sick, and can theoretically live indefinitely as long as the virtual world is maintained. The moment this is turned off, you can feel pain or die at any time, even in this virtual world. So that's one of the core systems that must be maintained in all times. But to think that the protector was conveniently disabled at just the right time when the civilians came to protest. This can only be attributed to someone's intervention. The question then is, who could it be? Year 2, September 27. After the violent protests, the interaction with the civilians was completely cut off. The civilians thought the researchers had deliberately disabled the protector to kill them, and they seemed to have lost any desire to interact with the researchers. Likewise, the researchers were divided into two opinions, that it was right to split up because the civilians attacked first, or that we should still try to interact with them until the very end. The atmosphere was worsening here as well. In order to resolve the situation as quickly as possible, the development team worked on creating an artifact that could resurrect the dead people. The resurrection artifact may sound impressive at first glance, but in reality, it is merely recycling the respawn function in the game's system's dummy data. Dying in the virtual world is only a temporary deactivation of the avatar, so it's entirely possible to revive a person using the memory data. Even so, without the help of Azar, an actual game engineer, it would have been difficult to even revive that dummy data. At the point the casualties occurred, I could have resolved the situation with the loop, but I thought it would be more productive to use the respawn function instead of resetting everything. It was also a rare opportunity to collect data and reactions of a group in an emergency situation. But in retrospect, this turned out to be a serious mistake. If I had activated the loop right away, at least that wouldn't have happened. What? Year 2, September 13. A full-fledged development of the resurrection artifact began. I wanted to start working on it more quickly, but due to the strong opposition of some researchers and the chaotic atmosphere, it took some time to sort everything out. The original plan was to inform civilians of the resurrection artifact, then restore relations by erasing the excessive regulation and resolving complaints through in-depth mutual discussions. I thought if they realized that the dead people could be brought back to life, they would calm down and listen to us at least a bit more. But then, something unexpected happened. After hearing reports that 2 members of the security team went missing while out on patrol, we tracked them down and learned the shocking truth, that the civilians had kidnapped them. Somehow they had unlocked the gate to the real world in the town square, and once the civilians noticed they were being watched, they sprang into action as if they wanted us to see. They opened the gate, and after dragging along one of the security team members they had caught, they pushed him out and banished him to the real world. Unlike the researchers, the civilians were afraid that death in the virtual world might have had some side effects on the body in the real world. That is why now that the Protector has been reactivated, they're taking their revenge in the only way that they can hurt the researchers. Pushing them into the real world in the Ice Age? We immediately saw from the real world side of the camera that the security team member had woken up from cold sleep. And we watched as he begged for his life in the cold, as he slowly froze to death. For us in the virtual world, there was nothing we could do but watch. The civilian who had sent off one person gained the upper hand and began negotiating with the researchers, using the life of the remaining security team member as hostage. Unless the demands were met, they were going to send the remaining person to the real world the same way. Regardless of the development of the resurrection artifact, the situation had already become irreversible. Demands! No wonder why I would want to loop the world! I would have looped the world in a heartbeat! How dare they do something like that? Like, really? They knew perfectly well what that means if somebody goes out in that cold! The last record of the previous loop was year 2, September 13th. 30th. Immediately after this, I activated the loop without hesitation to prevent any more people from dying in the real world or giving them any more cards. People who died in the virtual world can be revived with the artifact or the loop, but there's nothing we can do for the people who are gone out the real world. The gate. Frankly, it makes no sense. There's no way the civilians could have opened the gate that's locked with a program code. In addition, the plan to kill the researchers using the gate is probably not a method that the civilians could readily think of. After all, they wouldn't probably know how to open the gate in the first place, or where the gate is even located, or any of that. Then, is this also the betrayer? After the casualties occurred in the violent protest, the atmosphere of the Ark was in a chaotic and disorderly state. Not to mention the civilians. The researchers came close to fighting multiple times because they had opposite opinions. Under these circumstances, it wouldn't have been difficult for the betrayer to communicate with the civilians without being seen by the others. No, maybe that's not necessarily the case. It might be rash to assume that the betrayer has to be amongst the researchers. Of course, it may seem like disabling the protector or unlocking the gate could only be done by a researcher. But it's also possible for civilians to have tinkered with the system in the real world before entering the virtual world, or to have stolen and studied information on the researcher's side. Like a hacker. Perchance. Oh. But it wouldn't really work, because so far we only know that Chiyo is a hacker, which means Phoenix. And Phoenix can't really talk to herself, right? The betrayer was in the cell, so she can't be it. So there has to be a secondary hacker. Interesting. In any case, we need to find the betrayer as soon as possible. We bought a bit of time with the loop, but as long as the betrayer remains unchecked, the second loop will soon follow the same path as the first. Clyne! Are you there? What's wrong, Phoenix? There's still some time left until the opening ceremony. Clyne! I'm asking just in case. The only people who retain memories after the loop are you and me, right? Just the two of us, right? Yes, but is there some kind of problem? Some people's memories. Memories? I don't know. Just come see for yourself. It's a total chaos right now, you know? Oh no. An ominous feeling washes over me once again. This can't be. I even used my last resort, the loop. I went this far and yet there's still some kind of problem remaining? So he already shared the potions. He must have expected this. Lead me to them. I need to see for myself just what happened. Oh my god! And the people just don't learn! They just cause more trouble! Are they freaking crazy? They just need to endure for a couple of years! Come on! And then we have Phoenix Rebirth, which completely throws us out of the loop. Kinda wanna see this one next, but I guess we have to wait for that one a bit longer. Okay, Phoenix Rebirth. Phoenix spent time in the frozen Ark as always, however the anxiety has been haunting Phoenix since the reunion with Clyne, causes Phoenix to have nightmares. Phoenix gradually comes to realize the attachment to life, and impulsively commits an irreversible act using an unmade robot? What the hell did you do, Phoenix? What did you do? Alright, let's get drawing. The frozen scenery of the Ark, where everyone stands like a statue as usual. My feelings were still complicated after reuniting with Clynes 2 years ago, but after recognizing that there's an end, I spent my days with more fulfillment than ever before. If I happen to get lonely, I could just go and meet that person like usual. Usual? Phoenix! What do you mean? You can't just... I told you you can't meet up with that person! He's a betrayer for a reason! He's worming inside! Oh gosh, never learns! Oh god, who should I draw this time? I don't know. I wish I had some inspirations. It's been a long time since I've drawn a portrait of everyone in the Ark. I've already drawn each person at least 3 times, and since I'm not able to change the pose of the frozen person, it's bound to be difficult to get any further inspirations. Holy damn, that looks so creepy. What can I do? Let's just draw my manager. Hey sis, don't move. Not like you can, even if you wanted to. Although my eyes and hands are focused on drawing, my head is focused on something completely different. Well, even with all that happens, the time is passing in our favor, and the project is definitely moving towards the end. The end. If the project ends, I will die. Unless the Ark project continues forever, my death is a sealed fate that can never be changed. Am I afraid of death? No. It's a little different. Rather, I want to continue my life. What I'm feeling is closer to a longing for life than a fear of death. A lingering desire for a perpetuated life, like this phoenix body that never stops burning. Why do you try so hard to live? Sis, who should have been frozen and thus unable to move, opened her mouth with a creepy smile. No, it's not Sis. Before I knew it, her appearance has changed. This person is... You? You were born to die. So why are you trying so hard to live? What? You... that person? Hey, why did you stop now? The more you try to do something, the more you will end up clinging to life. Isn't that miserable? You're fated to die anyways. That's not true. What's not true? What do you hope to gain by trying so hard? In the end, once you go out to the real world... Shut up! I won't die! I'm the Mortal Phoenix! I think hallucination is one of the steps of losing your mind. After being lonely for a long time, right? Phoenix! Was that a dream? When I came back to my senses, I found myself lying on the floor, and Sis, who looked like a different person a while ago, had returned to her original state. Did I doze off for a moment? Did I have an absurd dream because I've been thinking too much recently? Or you just got hacked? Because that was really weird, everything turned red for a second. In any case, I could tell that my body and mind were extremely exhausted and not in a normal condition. There's something I realized only recently. All the things I've been doing to kill time had slowly become a part of my life, one by one. Yes, I'm alive. Since I'm alive, I can enjoy and take in the countless things that life has to offer. What do you hope to gain by trying so hard? In the end, once you go out to the real world, everything is coming crashing down, huh? I don't want it to end like this. I want to keep living and feeling like I'm alive. If you were to ask me what I would like to do if I kept living, I wouldn't be able to come up with a specific answer. But ever since I heard from Clyne that the project was moving towards the end, the thought of wanting to live took root in my head and refused to leave. In times like this, maybe I should go for a walk. Where are you going? I swear to God, do not go to the betrayer! I'm literally... Okay, wait, it's fine. Oh God! It's still moving pretty well. Although the creaking noise seems to have gotten worse. It's been a long time since I've taken the excursion to the real world. Of course, I didn't come out to the real world in person. I'm only moving an unmanned robot in the real world by sending signal from this controller in the observation room. Although it feels too much like controlling an LC toy, this is the only way to make direct contact with the real world. The inside of the shelter was extraordinarily quiet, and it was in the exact same state as when we logged into the virtual world. Obvious so, because there was no human intervention. Aside from all the dust and some mild deteriorations, everything was left in stasis since that day. The hibernation room. The place where our bodies in the real world are sleeping. It was built on a larger scale amongst the facilities to accommodate all project participants, and the security is also in the titles. After a bit of consideration, I entered the hibernation room. I could see the faces of people in cold sleep through the glass windows of the cryogenetic pods. Sis, Azar, Leon, I see quite a few familiar faces. Everyone is deep in a cold sleep. Sector C, Group 14, Pod number 12. I think it was... Is that your pod? I moved the robot towards a certain somewhere without hesitation. As if I'd been controlling the unmade robot all along for this very purpose. The robot's footstep finally halted, and what I saw through the googling display was... Oh. It's you. I saw you in my dreams a while ago. Then it suddenly occurred to me that with this robot, I could at least meet you through this ring. My true self. Inside the cryogenetic pod, my body in the real world was asleep with a calm and peaceful expression, unaware of anything that had happened. Suddenly, I remember a certain memory after looking at my peaceful expression in the real world. In the past, when every day felt like hell, the only time I could forget the pain was when I was sleeping. When the Ark project ended and you returned to the real world, you will start to suffer again. Live a life full of suffering, and ending your life in suffering. My body was already starting to reach its limit when the Ark project began. When everything is done with, how much time will I have left? 1 year? 1 month? I could die without even going a single day. I hate it. I don't want to wake up. I don't want you to wake up. I don't want you to suffer any longer. You were born to die. Why? Why do I have to die? The more you try to do something, the more you'll end up clinging to life. Isn't that miserable? You're fated to die anyways. No, I don't want to die. I want to live. I'm going to live. What do you hope to gain by trying so hard? In the end, once you go out to the real world... Shut up! What's so wrong with wanting to live? What did you do? What was that chirp? What was the sound? It wasn't something that I did with any particular intention. Before I could even process my thought, my body was already controlling the robot and taking actions. What? When I came to my senses, the real world and the display screen had been completely destroyed and was reduced to rubble. To be specific, it was the observation room. All facility that could monitor the state of the real world within the virtual world has been broken down. So you are the reason. Oh my god, Phoenix! That's really bad. That's really bad. How do you explain this to Clyne in 8 years? God. I've really done this. With this, the Ark project is done for. So trivial. In a lovable, trivial manner, my impulsive action ended humanity. And now you can laugh about it, huh? I laughed involuntarily as the emptiness overwhelmed me. After laughing for who knows how long, I started to move the robot outside of the shelter, as if I were possessed by something. Where are you going?
Warning. You're escaping the signal range. Please turn back the controller and return to the original position.
Even if it is through the robot, how many hundreds of years have passed since I've walked on land? The world outside of the shelter, the real world in the true sense of the word. The scenery that I've only observed through the drones or cameras. It was... war. It was a world of pure white. A world with nothing but snow and ice. The contrast clear sky without a single cloud was a beautiful sight to behold.
Warning. You're escaping signal range. Please turn back the controller and return to the original position.
The unmanned robot continued to send warning message, but it no longer reached my ears. My brain was working the hardest since the Ark project began to engrave the scenery on the screen into my eyes. It's beautiful. A world without civilization, in this white hell where not a single living being could be found. What I felt was freedom. I could go anywhere I wanted in this vast, endless snowscape. In this moment, I had more freedom than anyone else on Earth. I likely never feel this kind of freedom again. But if I wasn't alive, I wouldn't have been able to see the scenery. Yes, to live is to be free. It doesn't matter what I want to live for. I don't need a reason for wanting to live. Being alive in of itself is sufficient. As long as I'm alive, I can do anything and go anywhere. Except of the fact that you destroyed a perfectly fine robot, the observation console, in any way and form of shape that you could technically have a little peek of the outside world. Phoenix, that was a really stupid thing for you to do! Really stupid thing! I'm just saying! Finally, the signal from the unmated robot was lost. With this, all means of connection to the real world within the virtual world has been destroyed. Live. I'm going to live. For eternity. Approximately 56,000 days from the start of the Ark project. On this day, I betrayed humanity in order to live. My freaking god. And I can kinda understand where she's going with. If her body is in such a bad condition that she literally is unable to survive on her own and is only able to experience any form of freedom in this Phoenix body in the virtual world, I can kinda understand why she would be reluctant to leave this world behind. But Phoenix, I was able to see with the predicament from Clynes Memoirs that it is possible for people to leave, but not everyone. Not everyone is forced to go. If you told him that you wanted to stay because you can technically survive in this body, maybe he would have allowed it. You might have to sleep for a while after returning to your original form, so that they can preserve the energy until they find a backup battery in order to preserve your body and mind and the computer. But he might have found a way for you to work it out. This is not an impossible request, right? And besides, most people don't survive more than 100 years. You already lived for 400. Or maybe even more. How much do you need? Okay. But okay, it's fine. At the very least, you gave me a couple of very interesting new words that I can try for a password, right? So how about we do that now, before I get even more infuriated? Okay, let's see. The secret code was yellow during Lorene's conversation, which was secret code. Okay. How about key? Nope. Key tattoo? No. I'm just gonna try all the words and see if any of them has any type of reaction. I'm gonna save those words just in case. There has to be more passwords than just one, right? Surely. Surely there are more passwords than just one, right? Surely. There has to be a reason why they gave us... Okay. There has to be a reason why they gave us so many, extra yellow hints, right? At the very least we got another report. We didn't really get it from a password, but still. Right? Oh god. Okay, where is it? Eternal life? Oh no! No! Phoenix! I'm telling you, you're not supposed to go to him! Are you stupid? Oh, the beginning of an eternal life. Phoenix confessed their actions to the imprisoned betrayer. Phoenix has now become no different from the betrayer to the Ark project. And the betrayer takes advantage of this to propose an alliance with Phoenix. Oh, they begin to work on a plan to make the virtual world eternal by using the master permission to manipulate the world as they wish. Did you tell him? Her? About the master? Are you freaking insane? And now he's laughing! You... I just don't understand it. I see. I knew you could do it. Not only did you deceive Clyne, but you also destroyed all observation equipment and abandoned the robot in a place that the signal wouldn't reach. Well done, Phoenix. Very well done. With this, the Ark project is done for you. Wow. You are going on about how I'm a betrayer, and yet you are no different from me. I can't wait to see how Clyne is going to react to this. I know. I feel sorry for Clyne, but the moment I saw myself in reality, I had no choice but to do this. Oh, I'm not trying to mock you or anything. Rather, I've gained a higher opinion of you. I thought you were just a nuisance who talked nonsense every single day. I never thought you would have this kind of determination. Your praising means nothing to me. So, what are you going to do now? Huh? There's no way to take the real world anymore, and there's no way to go out evil. I'm asking what you're going to do from now on. Well, I guess I continue living somehow. And what's your plan with Clyne yourself? You said the timer was set for him to wake up every 10 years, right? When he wakes up, there's no way he will leave you alone. That's, You really are into it, aren't you? To think you would make such a heavy decision without a single plan. Of course I have a plan! The Mighty Phoenix has a plan! It's to live in this world happily ever after, while probably hiding from Clyne. Mm-hmm. You mean inside this virtual world? In that case, I think I can help you. What? Free me from the cell, Phoenix. Let's join forces. I have just a plan for you. Join forces? You and me? What? What's there to lose? We are both betrayers who turned our back to Clyne. I wish for the failure of the Ark project, and you wish to live in this virtual world forever. Our goals are more aligned, don't you think? Alright, I'll at least listen to what you have to say. Seriously? The betrayer of the Ark project. The reason why the Ark project is frozen as it is now. This person infiltrated the Ark project with the purpose of ruining the project, and sincerely wishes for the failure of the Ark project, which is certainly going to doom every human that is still alive. Thus, the extinction of all humanity, including themselves. Even if I'm in the same boat for betraying Clyne, this person is still definitely aiming for the end of the Ark project. I don't know what kind of nonsense they're trying to spin with this flashy speech, so I'll be best to just listen half-heartedly. So, what is this plan of yours? The master permission? Why is that yellow as fuck? You're tricking me! You're tricking me with this! Huh? And you knew about that beforehand? It wasn't Phoenix who told you about it? Where did you get that information? Phoenix, you know about the Master's permission, don't you? It's a godlike authority that lets you act as the administrator and manipulate anything within this virtual world. We'll have to use that power. So you're telling me to become the program master and make this world last forever? Well, that wouldn't really be so bad either. That's only if you can become the master in the first place. The problem is that the master's permission can only be obtained through a vote. I know that too. That is why I ruled out the master permission in the first place. There's no guarantee that I'll be voted as the program master, and with how the Ark is frozen right now. Just wait. This is where my plan comes into play. How about we do a mafia game? Huh? What do you mean with mafia game? Here's the plan I came up with. First, to be the minimum head count required for voting, we have 3 selected individuals, wipe their memories, and gather them at the control center. After that, we tell them that they must select a program master within the time limit, and that there's a betrayer hiding within it. And once we see the villain using an outfit, the game can finally begin. With me as a participant, and you as the host. You want to play along? By announcing the fact that there's a betrayer, you're creating a situation where we have no choice but to be suspicious of each other. So, what happens after that? Like a duck to water, the betrayer laid out a detailed plan for this mafia game. Even considering the fact that this person was the betrayer and I was trapped for ideas, the plan that the betrayer suggested seemed sufficient for achieving both of our goals. Incredible! This plan might actually work. Have you been planning this the whole time you were stuck here? Well, yeah. But there's one problem that I have with this. If you join the game as a participant, that means you can also become the master, right? If I earn the other people's trust and obtain their votes, then there's certainly a possibility. Oh, but don't worry. If that happens, I promise to turn this world into a new turn. Just as you wish. As if? I would rather leave this fish to a cat! It's obvious what would happen to the Ark if you became the master. But you want me to just believe you? If that's really bothering you, you can just reveal my identity, right? All you need to do is say I'm the betrayer, and I lose all of their trust in an instant. Well, that is true, but... Felix, the only reason why I'm participating is to guide the game according to our intention. You've experienced it firsthand, right? How I tried to ruin the Ark project. Things like this are my specialties. I guess there's no choice. Even if I decline your offer, it's not like I have any other plans. And I need to do something before Clyne wakes up and actually hold me accountable for what I did, right? Fine, let's try it. We'll bring forth a broken master with our own hands, and we'll use that power to create an everlasting world. Good choice. Then it is all set, right? Let us create an everlasting world for our almighty Phoenix. The betrayer reached out their hands from behind the iron bars. The betrayer must be plotting to become the master, while pretending to help me. But as of now, I have no choice but to pretend like I'm being deceived and accept their offer. Alright. I stretched out my wings and grabbed the betrayer's hand. So, who is it going to be? The one who will become the master and create an everlasting world for us. Asa? We'll make Asa into the Oh!